They called him unlucky, and for a long time, Ethan almost believed them. Ethan was 18. He lived in a small farming town where everyone knew everyone. Life was simple, but also heavy. His father worked the fields from sunrise to sunset. His mother worked double shifts at a diner. Ethan helped as much as he could, but he always felt like life was closing in on him. The one thing that gave him freedom was his old dirt bike. It wasn't shiny, it wasn't new. But when Ethan rode it across dusty roads, he felt like he could escape everything. The bills, the stress, the long stares of neighbors who thought his family would never amount to much. One summer afternoon, Ethan took the bike out to the hills. The wind hit his face, the engine rattled beneath him, and for a moment, it felt like flying. But in one careless turn, the back tire slipped on loose gravel. The crash was loud. The wheel bent like paper. Ethan skidded hard into the dirt. His leg was cut and bruised. The bike lay twisted, smoke rising from the engine. The next morning, people shook their heads. "Poor boy," one man said. "Terrible luck," another added. "First his family struggles, and now this." Ethan sat on the porch with his broken bike and a throbbing leg, listening to the whispers. For days, he felt useless. But then, something shifted. A week after the crash, heavy rains poured over the town. The small farms drowned in water. Fields were ruined. The harvest, gone. Families panicked. Most of the boys in town were sent to the fields every morning to dig trenches, rebuild fences, and save whatever crops they could. They worked until their hands bled. But Ethan, with his bruised leg, he couldn't join them. Instead, he stayed home. At first, he felt guilty, but soon, he began tinkering with his broken bike. He pulled off the wheel, studied the gears, tightened bolts, cleaned the rust. What started as boredom turned into fascination. Piece by piece, Ethan began to understand machines. He borrowed an old manual, watched how-to videos at the library, and tested his hands. The dirt bike became his classroom. Neighbors noticed. One man brought his broken lawnmower and asked, "Think you can fix this?" Ethan tried and succeeded. Word spread. Someone else brought a chainsaw, then a tractor. While other boys returned from the muddy fields, exhausted and silent, Ethan's porch began filling with machines waiting to be repaired. People whispered again, but this time, differently. "Maybe it wasn't bad luck after all," they said. "Look at him. He's learning something." Just as life seemed brighter, another twist came. One morning, Ethan's best friend Daniel ran into his yard, pale and out of breath. "Ethan, you're lucky you weren't with us. My brother broke his arm trying to lift a flooded gate in the fields. You would have been there too if not for that crash." Ethan froze. That crash, the one everyone called misfortune, had saved him from an injury that could have changed his life forever. But life wasn't done testing him. A month later, his father's old truck broke down. Without it, they couldn't carry supplies for the farm. Money was tight. His father sighed heavily. "We can't afford repairs. Maybe it's time to give up the farm." The words cut deep. Giving up the farm meant giving up their whole way of life. Ethan couldn't stand it. He looked at the broken truck, then back at his parents. "Let me try," he said. They laughed softly. You've only fixed lawnmowers." But Ethan didn't give up. For nights, he stayed in the cold barn, covered in grease, hands trembling. He read manuals, borrowed tools, prayed under his breath. And finally, one night, the truck roared back to life. His father's eyes filled with tears. For the first time, Ethan felt like more than a boy with a broken bike. He felt like a man with a purpose. The turning point. Years passed. Ethan kept repairing machines, each job bigger than the last. His small porch workshop became a garage, the garage became a shop, and soon his name was known across town. One day, a farmer he'd never met drove in with a combine harvester. "You're the boy who fixes the impossible, right?" he asked with a smile. Ethan nodded. That night, while working, he glanced at the corner of the shop. There, covered in dust, still stood his old dirt bike, the one that started it all. The same bike that once lay twisted in the dirt, the same crash that made people call him unlucky. He placed his hand on the rusted handlebar and whispered, "Thank you." The lesson. Looking back, Ethan realized something powerful. The crash hadn't been a curse, it was a door. It forced him to stop, to notice a path he never would have taken otherwise. And maybe that's how life works. Sometimes what feels like your worst day is secretly redirecting you to your best path. Sometimes the thing that breaks you is actually bending you toward your true purpose. So if life feels unfair today, don't be too quick to call it bad luck. Stay patient, stay curious. The pain you carry may be shaping the very strength you'll need tomorrow. Because luck isn't what happens to you, it's what you do with it. If this story inspired you, share it with someone who feels unlucky right now. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that remind us of the courage hidden in everyday life.